And yes, we are officially live. So, everyone, thank you so much for jumping in. It's another episode of Nerd Night. I am super pumped for tonight. If you have no idea why I am pumped, then you need to stick around. Over the next few minutes, there's a lot to unpack. We've got the man himself, Jack Sessions, on the in the building. Well, I was gonna say on the building, but mate, you don't live on the roof. I am made to understand. Well, you guys know it's your boy Sammy Chucks here, and we are live, officially live. Can someone, Nathan, can you double check and make sure that we're actually live on YouTube? If not, we might actually go back and start troubleshooting this thing called what is the streaming software again? OBS.
Facebook?
Oh God, it's a dumpster fire.
Well, double check we're live so that I can keep flowing because the flow is live today. We
I know.
are going hard. We're going hard today, guys. If it is your first time joining, Nerd Night today, you are in for a massive packed event and massive packed show. So once I get that hands up, that thumbs up from Nathan, that we are actually live on YouTube, we are going to go straight into it, people. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. I'm going to assume everyone is live, everyone is jumping in and ready to have fun with us. Nathan, did you confirm?
Yes.
So we're live.
Yes, you are alive. And you're breathing.
Okay, cool. Well, everybody, welcome to Nerd Night episode
58.
Yes. Thank you for joining us again. You guys know that we are always live every single week, Saturday, 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, 11th hour UTC. I believe it is, what time is it right now in Italy? It's probably 8:30 or 9 a.m. in Italy. Probably 8 a.m. in Italy right now. So don't ask me how I know that. I believe it is currently 12 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria, and 11 a.m. in Accra, Ghana. So wherever you are, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Sammy Chucks, and I'm the CEO and founder of CyLynk, and also the founder of Hack for Good. Well, we are a cybersecurity platform, training, technical, hands-on, pepper teaming-based platform that is heavily focused on job-ready skills. So what we care about is what actually gets you hired, not another game, not another CTF or challenge or flag. Although we do those things, but the key focus for us is having you get a job as quickly as possible. We are live and recording today live in Canberra, Australia, and after a jam-packed, fun-filled 3 days of BSides Canberra, the number one hacking conference in Australia. Jack, how good was Canberra today? Well,
I mean, it
you
was.
left this morning.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I did have to leave this morning just due to, well, it's Canberra and $12 cups of coffee do take a toll on a broke computer science student. So, but yeah, it was a wonderful conference. Lovely organizers. Had the awesome outfit on. So for those of you who weren't uh, watching my talk, I had night vision goggles on. I had a Watchdogs hat and Watchdogs
Yep,
mask. I was really embodying
you came fully kitted up, my friend, and I believe
100%.
you did get into a few words with the police in the AFP, the Australian Federal
Oh,
Police. And
yep, yep,
well, hold
yep.
on to that. We
So,
are we are going to talk
uh,
about all of that in Inside from an X. So I'm sorry for cutting you short, but we want to get
absolutely.
into the good stuff straight away. Nathan, do you want to give us a quick introduction? Who are you? What do you do at CyLynk and Hack for Good? And then we're going to hand it over to Jack for a quick introduction. Um, Guys, for those of you who do not know, Jack is an absolute legend. He's a great guy within the cybersecurity industry, and we are super proud to have him in Melbourne. Typically, people like Jack live in Northern Territory. No, I'm just joking. Nathan,
Yeah,
give us an
100%.
introduction.
Welcome, Jack, from the Northern Territory. I'm from Antarctica. Um,
Uh,
if
nice.
from everyone would already know that from watching previous episodes. That I'm that guy that you don't want to receive an email from because for a long time I wrote malware and that was how I got my first cyber job. But that aside, here in Antarctica there's ice and penguins and um, I normally try to hunt for threats in Antarctica,
Mhm.
as a threat hunter, um, and stock analyst duties, and
Yes, the
oh,
old ball
right.
and chain.
Yes, yep, that's right, absolutely. And what do I do at CyLynk? I do everything. I'm a jack of all trades. I'm the CTO, and I actually don't know what I'm allowed to talk about, so I'm just going to leave it there.
Well, that's a good place to leave it, so we don't go into the thick of it, guys. We are building something pretty awesome. I know it's early days, and for those who have been following our story and following our journey, you guys know that I used to be an ex cyber criminal in Lagos, Nigeria, and we are turning lives around by the millions in those regions. So our platform, our focus is in underserved communities and untapped regions globally. Our platform the platform we're building is one of a kind. If you haven't checked us out, go right away, straight now. Don't wait. Don't wait. Go to cylynk.com so you can have a look at the different trainings that we have. We have our job ready tracks, but without shamelessly trying to do a sales pitch right at the very beginning of this. This is definitely not about sales. We want to connect with the community and build a community. So, Jack, seriously, I have no idea how to introduce you, but guys, for those who do not know Jack, Jack is a malware tinkerer and an iOS security researcher that happens to somehow be broke. I have no idea how Apple hasn't paid you for the work that you do.
Uh,
You are also a meme lord. Seriously, how
yes.
how many memes you have to meme a day to become a meme lord? Go figure.
Well, see, great introduction and awesome to be on this podcast first up. But more importantly, on the meme lord thing, I was at a bar the other night hanging out with people from Combank at BSides Canberra, right? And they're like, "Oh, what's your goal in the job market?" And I'm like, "To become a winning meme." And they're like, "That's some Elon Musk type stuff. Like, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You'll know in 25 years when I, take over the world." And they're like, "Oh my god."
Seriously.
Oh, wow.
But to kind of circle back, so my main specialty is mobile security research, both on the anti-forensic and counterintelligence space. So by a proxy of learning how to stop those attacks, I do need to know how those attacks work. So I'm very much the purple team of mobile security. And I'm starting to get more and more into mobile malware because that's a very underserved um, region of security because not a lot of researchers care about it, and more importantly, it's very difficult to make money.
Yeah, like what really always surprises me is how much little knowledge there is about like mobile security testing and mobile
Yep.
security in general, especially for something that is literally in the hands of billions of people. There's
Mhm.
very little knowledge and very little researchers who actually specialize in that field. So, on behalf of every single cybersecurity professional, we want to thank you for choosing to focus on what not a lot of people are bold enough to go into, especially in ecosystems like that of Apple, that is
Mhm.
very very close source. They'll barely let you anywhere close to their source code. So
100%.
it's not for the faint of heart. But look, before we get too carried away, guys,
Mm.
I think it's time for us to go into what is it, Nathan? What is the next segment? Is it trash talk or inside from an X? I reckon it's trash talk. What do you think, mate?
Mm.
Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, whoops, I didn't realize I was muted. I accidentally muted myself. I think it's lab time.
No, it's not
Lab.
lab time. What are you talking about? It is trash talk time.
Guys, welcome on
Ah,
board to the trash talk, guys. I am super excited for trash talk today because this kind of is thing that has a place in my heart. For those of you
Mm.
who do not know, I started my career doing literally from the very early days doing hardware repairs, and I still do it. I still dabble a fair bit on doing hardware on iPhones and Samsungs and iPads and laptops and whatnot. So one of the things that always gets to me is people claiming that certain versions of brands of mobile phones are more secure than others. People seem to think that the Apple iPhones are more secure, and I haven't been doing this for years. I'm torn. Like I'm literally somewhere in the middle. So I don't know. Like seriously, what do you guys think? Like I'm quite keen to hear everyone's thought. Jack, this is your area of specialization, mate. Like, is Apple iPhones truly more secure than say Android operating systems?
So this is where I'm going to have to use the very diplomatic answer of it depends. And I know that's not what a lot of your people are going to want to be hearing, but that's ultimately true, right? Because, like, if I were to say, oh, yeah, I have a 0 day in Apple, that is probably worth more than uh, anything at the moment because of the asymmetric advantage of that information in the Apple ecosystem. Very few researchers are public about Apple knowledge versus something like Android, right? We have something like Google Project Zero, which does publish Apple related vulnerabilities, but they're so very highly technical, you basically need to be a top 1% researcher to even know what they're talking about, let alone try to replicate them. And the other interesting thing is that it's like the average boot cycle, which I mentioned in my talk, has 68,000 lines of code. We do not have enough time to do that every single boot cycle to try to determine an attack vector if we're one person or just a group of people, right?
Yep.
Now, if we're a nation state, we have unlimited resources, time, money, what have you.
So you reckon
So
you reckon it's a bit of a
yeah.
myth, right? And also there's some truth to it. Like what I've personally heard is that, or what I've learned all through the years of doing my research, is I think it's simply because Apple in general has a more stringent policy around releasing apps on the marketplace. So I think they generally do a better job at vetting apps that are released on the Apple iStore than Android, really, to be honest. I believe that's probably one of the key areas. And if you really think about it, that's where a lot of the attacks that come into Android come from, right? I mean, like I think I was looking at the stats recently that 1 in 10 apps on the Android App Store is actually a malicious code that is written by a malicious actor that is trying to essentially carry out things like credential harvesting, information stealing, and installing malware on the user's device. Would this be true, Jack? Would you reckon?
I mean, I'd actually say it's a lot higher than that because we've been seeing over the past couple of years with the rise of short form content, a lot of short form kids games. Like the ones where you can't click the X in the corner of the ad and it
Yep.
takes you to the landing page in the Google Play Store. Those are terrible. And a lot of them are actually have some form of malware baked in because it's much easier to do that and hopefully get lucky by pulling somebody's password to their Bitcoin wallet or cryptocurrencies or banking information or ransomware than it is with something like the Apple security model. Because the Apple security model relies on a chain of validated trust.
Mm.
With Android, it's very much like a boundary system where if you're in one boundary, you can't really cross it. Because then that gets into very technical and kind of difficult things, right? But if you just allow a bunch of permissions, like why does a picture app need access to make calls and know your location, right?
Mm.
But they can actually use that to do a bunch of things from surveillance to exfiltrating data over the network to doing so many things. But I think Android is getting better, and I I want to preface this by saying that Android has hundreds of devices, hundreds of manufacturers, hundreds of standardized
Yeah.
handsets that they have to do.
Obviously,
So
because the kernel is open source.
yeah, well, it's not
For
just
for
that, but yeah, yeah.
No, no, no. You go. I was just going to explain what open source is to those who do not know. But you go. I'll do that after.
One second. I just want to say that a lot of big manufacturers like Xiaomi, OnePlus, Samsung, Huawei, they all have their own version of Android on top of the normal Android open source project. So that's why it's very difficult because
Yeah.
Samsung apps might not be as secure as Huawei apps and vice versa. And that's
Yeah,
why
and
mobile security, yeah, go.
yeah, and the open system nature of it, which is essentially where in most cases every single phone or every single app developer is trying to build an app that is compatible for every single different variant of Android OS, right? So like regardless of who's made the OS, whether that be Huawei or Xiaomi or Techno, whichever the make is, or Google themselves, there is obviously that cross compatibility that happens. But Nathan, I know you've got experience in malware reverse engineering and and in that area you've dabbled around, writing low-level programming languages. I guess, have you had any experience around mobile security in general? And would you say it's flop, or do you think there is potentially some truth to the prompt that Apple might be technically safer from an iOS point of view? In saying this, I did hear of major CVEs that came out of Apple. I reckon Apple is really good at hiding the CVEs that come out. Like, I think it was last year that they released 5 or more critical vulnerabilities in 1 year, but no one hears about it. So Nathan, I'm kind of keen to hear your thoughts.
I kind of don't think Apple is any closer, or no, any more secure than Android or any other operating system, just because it's so unknown to everyone. Maybe that's why it feels like it's more secure, because no one knows slash cares about it.
This is an unfair. This
Security
is an
by
unfair.
security by obfuscation, or just security by just, I don't know, unknownness.
This is definitely an unfair assessment because, guys, surprise, surprise.
Nathan uses an Android phone.
Yes, I do.
Uh,
So this is very much
Uh,
unfair. This is very much one-sided. And Jack, are you an Android phone user or an Apple phone user?
nah, I'm a Windows Phone guy.
Oh, interesting.
ah,
Now,
Nah, I'm
now,
joking.
now the prompts just go. The fact that you have to, the fact that you have to hide the fact that you're an Android user actually worries me, Jack.
No comment. I plead the fifth. um, no,
Where do you
realistically,
reckon you are? You think you're in the US? Nah, the fifth does not exist here, my
no,
friend.
100%, 100%.
I
No,
have
but
a confession to make.
yeah.
I actually genuinely like the Windows Phone, and I was sad to see it die.
I
Same.
thought Nokia was coming back with something similar to that. Like I thought they were resurrecting the Windows Phone. Am I making this up?
No,
Uh,
Nokia is not doing phones anymore.
Oh,
no, I mean,
seriously.
there was a joke that BlackBerry was gonna do it, but now they're a cybersecurity company, which is weird as heck.
It's probably a saving grace for them. Like, I believe they're the owner of Silence, right?
Mm.
They own Silence. By the way, for those who do not know, Silence is an EDR, so an endpoint detection and response platform. It's pretty much a modern day antivirus software. And for those who are obviously listening, who are wondering what an open system is as opposed to open source system is, so an open source system is essentially, or open source code, is essentially a code that is available to the public, where the source code is available to the public for anyone to build on top of that. Examples of open source softwares is essentially the Android OS, also the Unix kernel, which is essentially open for people to build on top of it, which is how we have different variants of Linux, including the Mac OS Unix as well. So that is actually built on top of the Linux Unix kernel. So guys, like I'm very I'm very torn on this one because I kind of want to give it to Apple, but I also feel like there's a bit of secrecy that happens within Apple. Like, Apple is like that, that auntie that that never farts in front of you, that you think that she doesn't
Yeah.
fart, but she does do dirty, stinky farts in the hidden doors. So I feel like there's a bit of unfairness to the prompt because Apple is
So
not widely known by people, and there's not a lot of vulnerabilities being found, or at least they are being found and it's hidden.
yeah, and just on that
Oh,
point,
sorry.
exactly. Um, that hidden aspect of the vulnerabilities is exactly what I want to stress so much. And that's very different to Android security researchers, because a lot of Android security researchers will actually, I'll email them and they'll be like, cool, let's jump on an hour Zoom call and let's chat about what's going on. Like, when I was getting into mobile hacking, I emailed the U.S. Secret Service's Mobile Forensic Lab in Louisiana, and they're like, hey, let's jump on a call. I'd love to help you out. As soon as I tried to look at Android research, I got no way, or Project Zero, which is insanely super technical.
Wow,
You pretty much need a PhD in quantum mechanics just to read it.
that is crazy. I did not
Yeah.
think. I actually thought it would be the other way around. Interesting.
No.
Interesting. So guys, the next prompt I'm gonna I throw out there is: do you like your pizza with pineapple on it or no pineapple? Like especially this the Hawaiian pizza. Do you peel out, like, are you one of those guys who pick out, the pineapple on your pizza, or you like to enjoy a nice succulent? Nathan, I know you have weird ideas about this, so I would like to start with you first, Nathan. So how do you like your pizza, mate? Your Hawaiian.
I include mountain loads of pineapple. I also
Oh,
add
oh god.
malware to mine, just for any suspecting victims that might want to steal my pizza. And
Tasty.
then I'll cover it in chili oil so that if anyone does happen to touch it, their hands burn.
Oh, seriously, that is worrisome. Jack, what's your thought? Now we know that Nathan loves pineapple, but also happens to be one of those siblings. Like, growing up where
Yeah.
if you've got siblings and then if they don't want you to eat their food, they just spit into it.
No.
I
Yes.
don't know if you had siblings growing up. That was one of the things I had to deal
Yeah.
with. Like, it's one way for you to shorty your meal without someone stealing it. And then they
Yeah.
basically come to you and saying, "Hey, can I have some food?" You're like, "What food?"
No.
Pop.
Yeah. It doesn't exist. So it's
They're
like
like,
communism.
"Ew."
My food. It exists for the party of me.
So are you a pineapple on pizza kind of guy or not?
So this is kind of where we get into a bit of an interesting kind of lore about pineapple on pizza. Charred pineapple on pizza, I love. Has to be charred over wood fire though. If it's not,
Oh,
then it gets soggy and disgusting, and then the dough doesn't rise properly, and it's terrible. But if it's
It's
charred,
charred over rocks.
it's like the pizza ovens, like you just put it in there and it's wood fire, so it chars on all
Yeah.
sides.
well,
But if you
it's,
just
it
bake
sounds
it,
like your taste is quite decadent, and it's safe to say that no Domino's will be giving you pineapple on pizza anytime soon.
and people wonder why I'm a broke comp sci student.
We're gonna get into that soon. The
Oh.
last prompt of the evening, I wanted to throw in there is: are you a pickle kind of guy? Like, when you go to, I think it's mostly McDonald's, where if you go buy burger, they put
Mm.
pickle inside of your burger. Guys, like, seriously, I do not hate pickle, but I don't like it either. But the last place I want pickle is in my burger. So, Jack, do you love pickle, or you like, not for me?
I like good quality pickles. So
I agree with that.
anything,
This is a man of quality.
yeah, I know, right? I mean, another reason why I'm broke. So
Uh,
the like the seagull, it's like Valisic, or it's like a seagull with the pickle jar, like the one that's like massive. I'll throw it up afterwards, but
yeah.
it's one of the best ones for like dirt cheap. But if it's like some random like soggy one that hasn't been touched in like a million years and made it in a laboratory, no, that's disgusting.
Well, I try to stay away from it. Nathan, what about you? I feel like you're probably gonna say I love pickles, but how do you want your pickles? 1,000 year old pickles in vinegar, or how many days?
You know, that's a good question. For me, I don't think it really matters. I would dump an entire jar of pickles on the burger, and then I might even decide to just throw the burger in the pickle jar and then pickle the burger.
Oh, literally. At that point, it's safe to say you're not eating. You are now eating pickle rather than eating burger. In which case, I say separate them apart. And surprisingly, some people who like pickle hate olives. I do like eating olives,
Oh.
but I do not want olives anywhere close to my pizza.
That reminded me of when I was a kid. Me and my sister were watching this TV show called iCarly, right?
Yeah.
And there was a challenge where, for one of the actors' birthdays, the older brother made like a tray of cupcakes, and they had to throw it in a wall, and whoever one stuck the longest won, and whoever lost had to drink a cup of pickle juice.
Oh, yikes! I
And
do
I'm like,
remember. I do remember iCarly. I do remember watching
yeah,
iCarly. So yeah, that was a good TV
what
show growing up.
what happened to
Did
that?
you did you guys ever have those weird but fun experiments like you would do when you were like 12 years old or 15 or something like that, where you're like, I wonder what it would taste like if I was going to mix cordial and orange juice together.
No, that should be a
Cordial and
war
milk.
crime. Oh God,
Uh,
that should be that should be a war crime.
yeah, Nathan is quite notorious for mixing things
Yeah.
together that are not nowhere remotely supposed to be anywhere close to
Oh,
each other. So what I do is whenever he tries to do it, I look away because I have no idea how he thinks. Like literally the combination of this in his belly, I don't
mm.
know. Like I don't even want to think about it. Like I'm sure his intestines are screaming screaming out loud. Please help us,
Uh,
save us.
Mm.
when I was 12 years old, I tried mixing cordial with milk, drunk it straight away, tasted like ice cream. But then I noticed because I didn't drink the whole thing, the milk curdled. And then when
Yikes.
I tipped it out in the sink, it made like this weird chemical reaction where the milk and the cordial kind of, I don't know, merged and made this weird squishy slime-like substance that lets off quite a smell. And I just think like, now that's in my body. Now,
So you made homemade napalm. Great.
yeah, pretty much. Chemical warfare.
100%. It's like, look, teacher, show and tell. Uh,
It just reminds me of a time that me and one of my brothers dared one of my other brothers
mm.
to drink lemon lime bitter syrup, milk, and tomato sauce.
Okay, moving swiftly along before this gets derailed into a condiments coliseum.
Thanks for pulling this in. I think the next episode, the next segment is Insight from an Ex. So Jack, I think it's about time when you're ready. I don't know why that's come before, but let's go. There you go. So look,
I am quite excited. Our soundboard is not working because I've actually got one screen today, so I'm only sharing the one screen that I have. So therefore, the only one side soundboard I have is the one that comes with the webcam.
stuff which you guys cannot hear, but those online can. But for those who are obviously not aware, like Jack, you do have a unique story in cybersecurity that I believe a lot more people need to hear about it. And you obviously have a particular set of personality that I think is quite unique, but also can appear to some people initially when they first meet you as I don't know, like. But I feel like once someone gets to know you, you're such an awesome guy. So and I do know that your story obviously has some breadth to it. So I'm
Yep.
quite happy for us to sort of begin from there, like from the very beginning. Obviously, feel free to skip any story that you feel like
Yeah.
might not necessarily be appropriate. But like again, nothing is off the table. We're gonna go all the way to literally childhood trauma, mental health, cybersecurity, all of it. So nothing is out of the table here, unless you feel like it's not the appropriate way. But kind of tell us a little bit about because you didn't have a conventional teenage life, right? Tell us a little bit
No.
about your teenage years. How did all this start, and how did you find cyber?
Oh, so how did I find cyber? It all started with Clash of Clans malware when I was 14 years old. And for those of you who don't know, if you ever played Clash of Clans between the years of like 2014 and 2016, 17, 18, there'd be a bunch of bots spamming in global chat on like, go to this link for free gems. Me being a broke teenager, I'm like, okay, 100%. And it was like, input your account details and XYZ and all that stuff. I do so, and I use the best browser of all time, Internet Explorer,
Rest in peace.
Oh no.
with no encryption. So even
Oh,
better.
seriously.
Because I'm like, the padlock is stupid. It won't let me log on to sites, so I don't need it. And now I'm like, that was kind of a bit naive on my part. But anyway, I end up falling victim to a drive-by download attack where effectively you're on the web page, but it executes scripts in the background to download an executable and then run it on your system.
Yep.
And there was a common vulnerability with Internet Explorer, just the whole browser was a vulnerability.
Yep.
It pretty much apart from that, it was then a logic bomb type thing. So it wouldn't detonate on smaller networks; it'd detonate on massive networks. So
So
it probably
I'm
wouldn't do
getting
like, sorry,
yeah.
yeah.
You keep going, keep going.
So what I mean by that is a private address. So 192.168.x and x, right? So that is a
Yeah.
local kind of network, right? It's probably not going to detonate on that. But anything kind of outside of the private address range, it's going to execute.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
what is the other biggest network that a kid goes and has access to? School.
Well, school. Yep, that is scary.
Yep.
So how did this all happen, and what were the consequences?
Oh.
I'm sure there were some.
Yep. It was insane. So effectively, I go to school the next day, and was in science class, and computer stopped working, and all the computers stopped working in the school, and I'm like, oh no, well that's weird. And I didn't know nothing about cybersecurity. I'm like, okay, well, I got my free gems, so I'm a happy camper. And end up getting home, watching a movie or something, and all I hear is AFP search warrant.
Oh
And they
boy.
bust through the front door, and I'm like, don't shoot. I'm American. And they were like, what?
What?
Mind you, this was in Australia on like the Gold Coast, so it's just hilarious. And it was almost like the Pikachu surprise face, like, what? Anyway, long story short, these two detectives from the AFP's cybercrime and counterterrorism team sit me down. Mind you, I'm like 14, about to be 15 in a couple months. And they're like, Jack, do you have links to Al Qaeda? And I'm like, in this economy, you got to keep your options open. And they're like, oh my God. And they're like, okay, Jack, what's this about Iranian propaganda stuff? And then I'm like, well, for the memes.
For the
And that was
memes.
kind of,
Yeah,
yep.
of course.
And that's exactly what federal law enforcement wants to hear when they're investigating a counterterrorism case, memes. And that was kind of the story of the meme lord. But I'll touch on that more in a little bit.
Yeah.
So
that
they
is
seized,
actually an interesting. That is an interesting story, because not every single teenager would have experienced something similar to that. But I'm quite like, I obviously, in hindsight now, there are some things I'm sure you regret, but not a lot of teenagers will go through that and actually get out of it. With like a clean slate. We've heard stories. I actually listened to Jack Resada's story of people who had that kind of experience end up often becoming malware developers who go to prison. So I'm really glad that you are staying on the right track and on the right sort of straight and narrow, and actually actively contributing into the cybersecurity community. So a huge plus to you, my friend.
Yeah.
But like, what actually happened after that? So tell me, how did you then go from, all right, now I've had AFP in my living room, and I'm probably shaking literally all through my body and about to pee my pants, but at the same
Not
time,
really.
it's pretty cool.
I was annoyed because they took my microwave.
What?
Microwave.
Of all the
Please
things.
explain
Yes,
why
my
the
microwave.
AFP found your AFP. What microwave did you have?
Just a normal one from like the 90s. And they're like, you cannot have a microwave. And I'm like, why can't I have a microwave? And they're like, can be used to destroy forensic evidence. And I'm like,
What? What?
it is a microwave. What am I gonna do? Make ramens of mass destruction?
Remnants of mass destruction. You heard it first, guys. Live at NerdKnight episode 58. Remnants of mass destruction. Oh
That would be a
boy.
great band name as well. Like an emo punk
Actually,
band.
you should make that your rapper handle.
What? Ramens of mass destruction.
Right, yeah.
Ramen, aka ramen.
I mean, if anybody wants to hit up and join, Ramens of mass destruction, like shameless plug,
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah,
So, keep going. So, how did that actually translate to you then? Finding, I guess, cybersecurity and wanting to step into cyber, and of all the different areas of cybersecurity, which is like one of the things that I find quite interesting is that when people first hear of cybersecurity, they either maybe have watched a movie, which could be Mr. Robot, or one of those other movies from the 90s. And they often want to become pen testers, which is ironic because there's not a lot of jobs in pen testing. But usually when they get into cyber, they then see that there's actually a myriad of different career pathways that you could potentially go into in cyber, right? That could be network security, cloud security, GRC, defensive, literally even within defensive, there's a lot of different things like DFIR, threat hunting, pepper teaming. So how did you decide that it was mobile hacking? How did you
So,
decide iOS?
mm, yeah. So now I'm gonna kind of fast forward a little bit in time. So AFP investigation clears. They find me no wrongdoing. They seize my laptop, and the actual forensic team at the Brisbane AFP forensic unit for like computer security is very very good at what they do. They're some of the best in all of Australia. And I'm like, oh, I know what you guys are gonna do. Like, you guys are gonna dump my RAM and try to extract my MD5 hash from my Windows password. And they're like, no, bro, you have a sticker of your password on your laptop. Like, we
Oh.
just log in that way. And I'm like, oh my god, no. I'm like, I'm so smart. Not. So,
Apparently very very lacking on basic password security.
I know, right? I mean, I was 14, 15, so like we
Yeah,
learn our OPSEC mistakes young, hopefully.
absolutely, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, fast forwarding after that, uh, bit of a difficult time period between just family life. It was a big adjustment moving from the U.S. I spent 10 years in the U.S. between 2006 to 2016 to 2017. And then the AFP investigation occurred probably 2018, November. 2019, um, basically the AFP team's like, yo, we're legally obligated to like a mental health type questionnaire type thing. Because anything revolving, counterterrorism type stuff, they have to do it to assess like a risk model. Well, long story short, I get my feedback back, and the psych people say, hey, you got ASD or autism spectrum disorder, which I'm like, cool, that's fine. It explains a lot. And then fast forward a couple months after that, and I was not the most popular kid in school, but I was most interested in tech, and I feel like that's what a lot of people in tech say about their early childhood years, and they start to grow in their careers. And I feel like, after having the AFP come to the school, and kids are extremely cruel, so it then spread from Jack downloaded Clash of Clans malware to Jack joined the Taliban to Jack has planted explosives in the school trash cans. So naturally, that gets a lot of attention very,
Yep.
very quickly.
Yep.
I actually will never forget this. March 22nd, 2019, I got called out of like some basic class. I believe it was science. It's always the science class. But effectively, I used to get escorted by like 5 security people and 2 police officers, and I'm like, I'm winning an award. This is like diplomatic
Yeah,
security.
you wish.
And no, I literally thought that because we had like an awards night like the other week, and they called my name, but I wasn't there, and I'm like, oh, cool, diplomatic security. Anyway, go to the principal's office. My stepfather's there now. To provide a bit of context, he was former U.S. Army, and he's 6'6", 280 pounds. So that's like what 145 kilos, something like that. So he's massive,
He's a big dude.
Whoa.
100%. And he sets me down. Like 10 other people are in the room. The AFP's in the room as well. The detectives from both counterterrorism and cybercrime are there. And by that point, they're like, "Yo, so we need to talk about this." Long story short, they kicked me out of that school just due to the potential legal risk. Had something have happened, then they would have been sued into oblivion. Which I understand it now, but looking back on it, it was the reports were, oh, Jack said he wanted to go to North Korea to meet Kim and
Good
take a
night.
selfie. And that was, the final nail in the coffin, right?
No,
So to
no
speak.
one, no one kicked Donald
What?
Trump out for going to take a selfie with Kim. How dare they, kick you out for going to take a photo? Say you want to take a photo with Kim.
Yeah, well, they said it was very much a classic case of he said, she said, but the difference is in my story, it also involved them knowing about the diagnosis, and two, the AFP stuff. So it just kind of compounded in the other party's favor instead of
Yeah.
that, which
Yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah.
So, long story short, fast forward, and how I actually get into cybersecurity. Actually, a weird story. 2023, I ended up watching a YouTube video and seeing an ad for CompTIA, and I'm like, yo, what's this? So I booked my security plus a couple months later, and I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna grind and I'm gonna get this done. Because I'm like, if the police forensic team can do it when I was 14, why don't I give it a shot to try and do that, right? So, I was working a bunch of nights. My mother had a food business. I was helping like 12-hour days on that and studying in the time that I had. Well, ultimately, I passed, and that kind of led to a big challenging decision within my family because cybersecurity at the time wasn't really known about or really talked about, and they didn't really want me to do it. They thought it was kind of a waste of my skill set. Because at that point I was very big into secure phones. I was very big into like Graphene OS and Windows Phone and
Mm-hmm.
just obscure stuff like jailbreaking. Because I'm like, hey, phones are cool and phones are relatively cheap, right? Because buying a laptop's quite expensive when you're 18, 19 years old, right? But a phone,
Yep.
like you can get a cracked one for like $20 off the side
Yeah.
of the road in like a sketchy alleyway, where all good deals are to be found. And yeah, ultimately that made me force a decision, and I ended up leaving, and that led to me, having a bit of a rough time, right? I found myself, you know, on a gym floor, right, for a couple nights, and it truly made me think about, what I hold dear in the world and also where I want to go. And it was in the second night that a friend of mine called me, and he's like, "So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do about it?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You need to make a promise that I will do whatever I can to help you, but you need to promise what you're actually going to be doing to improve your life right now." So at that point, I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, what do I want to do? Simple. I want to be the inspiration for people who maybe are going through this or maybe might go through this. And they can look to me and they can be like, damn, if Jack did it, then it's going to be great that, I can too, right? Because I really want to inspire and create the next generation of cybersecurity professionals that truly care about the field, but also care about having a collaborative spirit, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's kind of, oh, and also to become a winning meme.
Yeah, we
uh,
can't forget
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
yeah, look,
100%.
I want to recognize that obviously you've just poured your heart out, Jack, and I know some of that
Yeah.
stuff is a painful experience. But I guess that's the whole point of having, having a family. And this is one of the things that I love about cybersecurity. And I think BSide Canberra is a perfect example of that. What we're doing at Hack for Good, obviously that's a family that you can rely on and you can
Yep.
count on, come rain, come shine. But
Mm.
Nathan, I wanted to bring you in here. Like I'm sure you've got some questions. By the way, for those online, sorry, I forgot you for a second there. I'm using one laptop screen today, so I've got that open right away. So if you do have any questions for Jack, please feel free to put that in the comment section. And by the way, if you have not already subscribed, please subscribe to CyLynk page so that we can continue to grow the channel and keep bringing awesome guests to Nerd Night and a lot of our other podcasts like Inside from an X. So Nathan, like I guess this is probably a good place for you to sort of come in because I'm sure that you might identify with some of the stuff that Jack is talking about, especially experience at school and all of that.
Mm.
Well, so there's a thought that's continuously mm, come up as you've been talking about stories or encounters with the AFP.
Sure.
You keep bringing up comments like really silly comments or whatever that you've made to them, and I wonder like, is that actually what you said, or is that purely just because we're on Nerd Night and we're talking about it? Like, have you ever said something that was like, I don't know, like the sort of thing that you might say around someone who would hopefully have a sense of humor, um, but kind of be terrified to know what the response would be.
Yes. There was one comment I made where there's a big meme going around about um, there's 2018, right, and I had an American accent, and one of the biggest issues at the time was school shooting type stuff, right? And everyone's like, "Yo, there's Jack, like, not the popular kid. Let's make fun of him, right?" And they're like, "Oh, yo, like, don't come to school on Wednesday," is what they said. And I'm like, "Hey, that's actually a Tuesday activity." And it's like just playing off of their banter. But I can see now that there's certain things you don't joke about within that social context. But at the time, it's it's a stupid kind of silly mistake. But I think
Yep.
that's the very interesting thing is that we can learn from our mistakes and we can grow. Because I feel like if if you are plagued by regret, you're doing more of a disservice to yourself than actually putting that energy into action and doing stuff about it. Because if you have an issue, it's your responsibility to actually go and fix that, not
Yep.
anybody else's. And I feel like that's a very unique opinion that not a lot of people my age have. I think a lot of people try to transfer risk instead of take ownership of it.
Yeah, Nathan, do you
But
have
yeah,
any other question that you would like to add to that before we
Did you
move on
get?
to
Did
talk
you?
about because Jack did do an
Sorry, let's go.
incredible talk at no, he did an incredible talk at BSides Canberra. So I want us to move into that, but I'll let you ask one more question, and then obviously those who are online, if you do have any question for Jack, please add that in the comment section as well, so we can ask him and keep moving. But yeah, Nathan, one last question?
Did you ever get that microwave back?
I did actually, but there was it never plugged in again. So apparently the cord was
Oh,
cut.
what?
So they cut the back of the cord.
Clever move.
So to check for devices and SD cards and stuff hidden inside the cable, and I'm like, wow, these people are thorough. Which I mean, I guess that's what you want if they're the national police, but like, wow, to cut a microwave, it's crazy.
I mean, I guess that shows you how creative some criminals get.
Well, I mean, they actually didn't find, and I can talk about this now because it's like what, 8 years ago. They didn't find my PlayStation Portable because at that time it still has like internet connectivity and all that stuff. So I'm like, this is great. And they're like, oh, it's a device from 2004, and I'm like, yes, but I can connect to the internet. So Although they took my
Interesting.
iPod as well, so that was just. It's a very random assortment of tech that they just decided to just take. But yeah, 10 out of 10
When
would recommend.
when did you start rapping?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Before we get into the wrap, so Jack, you were wearing a night vision to beside Canberra. What were you thinking? And apparently you did experience a few things on your way to Canberra. So talk us through your experience from Melbourne Airport to Canberra Airport to the AFP potentially having a word, a very nicely word with you.
Yep. Yeah, so effectively, I wanted to be sensitized to the aspect of wearing night vision at a conference. So I went to the mall the day before my flight. I just walked around in night vision. And the looks I got, like people were just chatting, like drinking some coffee, and their neck literally broke from the force of them turning their head. Because they were like, is that dude in night vision? What? Are we getting raided? Is he from the CIA? And
Uh,
it was funny because like some cops were called over and they're like, "Hey, your night vision is crazy cool. Can we take a picture?" I'm like, 100%. And like, "Do you have your ID?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because you have to give your ID if you're
Yeah,
identified and stuff, right?
yeah.
I mean, I could have given them my expired diplomatic passport, but like, it's fine.
Well, fair
But
enough.
but at the airport, it was even crazier because night vision is not normal attire in an airport. Sadly, I'm making a fashion statement. So go through airport like security, and they call up the AFP, and they're like, "Hey, can this dude have night vision?" And they're like, don't see why not." Like weird, but cool. And I'm like, sweet. Walk past security, grab my stuff, belt, and all that stuff, and I'm putting on all my gear again. And people are like, "Is that dude night vision? Like, what is this?" And that was pretty much exactly how BSides Canberra went. And so much so that when I was walking about 2 days ago now, when I was walking to the conference center from my Airbnb, you have to cross the street. And in Canberra, there's very wide streets, so police can see basically 360. And this one cop was just driving around. I was having a selfie stick, just making some videos, right? Just streaming. And the cop rolls up, lights and sirens. I'm like, oh, a cop car. I turn the selfie stick around, pose in front of the cop car, snap the picture, and mind you, I was listening to some German rap, so I can't hear. I walk into the convention center, and 20 security guards flag me down. They're like, yo, this dude wants to speak to you. And I'm like, hi. And they're like, why do you have night vision? And I'm like, why don't you have night vision?
Because it's
Every
cool.
normal person- yeah, yes, exactly. And I'm like, can your department not afford it? Like, wow, that's so sad. And he's like, oh my God. And then cue the conference organizers literally sprinting down the hallway. Because at this point, the AFP's in the building. About 500 people are in the main lobby because it's the middle of the morning. And all they see is me in a corner getting spoken to. And they're like, what is going on? And actually, at the after party, the second most like conversation starter was not, hi, I'm Jack. It's, yo, you were the dude who brought the AFP to the building. And I'm like, does everyone know? And they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, what's the first thing? And they're like, you called out dual core saying his flow was trash and it's stuck in 1994 publicly. And I'm like, what? I said that to his face at the speaker dinner, so I didn't know it was dual core, so learned that lesson. Don't speak about bad rappers to the rapper by
But
accident.
seriously, you're still having to go at the poor guy.
I gave the challenge. He hasn't responded. You know.
Well, fair enough. We are going to experience some good old rap at the very end of the show. Jack, I think that's probably a good place to sort of wrap it up. Like I did attend your talk. It was absolutely amazing. A lot of it went over my head because I'm not an iOS hacker. That's not my area of specialization. But thank you for for putting your hand up and coming all the way to Canberra to to showcase your skills and doing the research. And hopefully my recommendation on the demo was handy. I heard your shout out to me then.
Yes, I did, because you were like, "Oh, you need to actually get some insurance." I'm like, "Nah, I don't need no insurance. All the demos failed. Audio, video failed. I literally had to zoom into the PDF slides because they failed on Canva." And they're like, "We have gigabit speeds," and I'm like, "Yeah, at the Switch."
Well, I gave you that advice not because I genuinely knew the right thing or the wrong thing. It was literally lived experience. Having presented at different conferences myself. Whenever you have demos, they never work when you want them to work. So the best thing you can do for yourself is to take screenshots, record it, and be ready just in case. But look, Jack, super honored to have spoken to you today. I'm sure we are, Nathan, and I. So I don't think there's any questions online yet. Thank you so much for jumping in and help and joining the conversation. It's been absolutely incredible to getting to know your story a little bit more. And dude, like all I can say to you is, more grease to your elbow. Keep studying, keep learning. Do not let any naysayers, stop you from actually having fun and learning new things. And
Yep.
keep going. It only takes a few more months or a few years for you to actually be potentially employed by Apple or one of those other big orgs there. And
Well,
then
I mean,
you
I
become the
met there
meme lord with a lot of money.
100%. Well, I'm actually wanting to give it to charity. And speaking of charity, that's why I
Hack for
rap.
good.
So
Yep.
I actually want to do my rapping career based on charity. So all the money I make will actually be given away to charity to support the
100%.
next generation of hacker culture.
Well,
So speaking of
Hack
which,
for Good is the perfect place to do that, my friend. Guys, for those who have
100%.
not checked out our non-for-profit organization, Hack for Good, go ahead and go check it out. hck4g.org. We are turning, cybercrime on its head, and we are, encouraging young people to choose to hack for good as opposed to hack for evil. And we are empowering youth in underserved and untapped communities and regions globally, especially places like Africa. And we're helping them, learn that you can actually be, win thousands of dollars from a bounty program. Like
Yep.
today, I was listening to the guys from Atlassian, and great talk from them at B-side, and they were saying that it's easily you can be making close to $80,000 per year, literally on bug bounty without a lot of effort, right? Like if you're in a place like I don't know Accra, Ghana, $80,000 a year, that's a lot of money, right? And you don't have to do commit crime for that. You only just need to do the same exactly the same thing you're doing hacking, but in this case hacking for good. So check us out. We also have our events coming up in November on November the 14th, the 13th, and the 15th. The Hack for Good CTF and Con that is happening in Melbourne, Australia, live on the 15th. The 13th and the 14th are virtual CTF events. So if you have not heard about it, definitely go look us up. Go to our website. Check us on LinkedIn, socials, all social platforms. We are going to be officially launching the actual event banner and registration next week. So I'm looking forward to that. I think this is a really good place for us to segue into.
You guys know it. It's threat landscape.
All right, awesome. So Nathan,
100%.
Nathan, I reckon you go first. So what do you have for the people today on threat landscape?
I have an interesting article on a tool called EDR Freeze. This has been kind of going viral, this week. Um, Funnily enough, I actually read through this article with everyone at Securo just before I left, and following my first day, going full time for CyLynk, this tool kind of started circulating online, and threat actors and whatever have started exploiting it, and everyone's writing on it. Um, so EDR freeze is
Feel free to share your screen as well, if you want to.
yep. When I can find the share button. You see what I'm looking at?
Waiting for it. Waiting for it. Hang on. Do we have you? Interesting. Maybe I'll stop sharing because I can't see your screen.
Uh, you could share you could share your screen again and just show the article that I posted in the chat, and then I'll just talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that as well. So that's all good. I think we should be entire screen. All right. Well, minimize that and go away from that. So for threat landscape, this one. So this is the one.
Yep, this is the one. So, um, for context, this is kind of a collection of articles. So, in the previous week, this same um, author and security researcher wrote an article on exploiting Windows error reporting um, to dump credentials from the LSAS process, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's pretty much the process in Windows that stores all of the NTLM hashes for every user on the system. So if you dump all of the NTLM hashes, you can pretty much get access to every, user account on the system. Um, and so, yep. So he uses an internal system component known as Windows error reporting to to dump all the hashes from all of the NTLM hashes from LSAS using an internal system component without relying on any third-party libraries or tools or anything like that. And so in this article, this guy pretty much does the same thing, um, but so in the previous article, he reverse engineered an executable known as were fault secure. So WER fault secure.exe. And in that article, he pretty much had to reverse engineer how it works because it allows you to elevate a process to the WinTCP privilege level, which is it's the highest privilege level in the PPL. I can't remember what it stands for. Protected process level. Um,
Yeah, so
it's the same privilege level that LSAS runs at. Yeah, you going to say, Jack?
I was gonna say, yeah, so it's the second highest before kernel access,
Yes, that's right.
but it
Yep,
does use
that's right.
pipe access, so it can access kernel space within a very narrow bandwidth, but that's kind of outside of the scope. But yes, you were correct.
Yep, that is right. So this guy had to. So the reason why this is important is because in the previous article, to write the whole WSAS tool, if you want to dump credentials from LSAS, you pretty much have to be running at the same privilege level. And so that's pretty much what this guy did. So he reverse engineered this executable so that you could take any executable and then elevate the privileges to that level. And so he pretty much uses the same technique to elevate his own tool that he calls EDR freeze, where he exploits a function in the Windows kernel that allows you to pretty much take a crash dump of a running process. And what it does before the process crashes or whatever, it puts the process in a suspended state. So um, you're able to take CrowdStrike, or you're able to take like Windows Defender or something like that. You're able to put it in like a coma state where it's not able to do anything for like 5 seconds or 8 seconds or something like that. And in that time, a threat actor can do literally whatever they want, and the system's not going to be able to stop you.
That definitely sounds scary, and I'm sure a lot of people. And I know this vulnerability came out like on the 23rd of this month, so literally just less than a month, a week ago. And I know a lot of EDR vendors like Sentinel One, CrowdStrike, ESET, you name them, or Silence. They're all probably pooping their pants and running around, trying to figure out a way to solve this problem. And genuinely, I think this one definitely falls back on Microsoft, to be honest, because no matter how hard EDR solutions try, they don't control the kernel of the Windows operating system. But Jack, I'm sure you probably heard something like this. Do you have any comments to add?
Yeah, so I'm just thinking back to my SANS class that I took a couple weeks ago, Forensics 508, and the instructor, Josh Lemon, lovely guy. He speaks a lot about kind of Windows attack vectors, and the one thing that he said is that if a vulnerability has access to kernel space, it's not a vulnerability, it's endgame. Until Microsoft releases a patch,
Yep.
you do not have access to that system. Because in your security model, if you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna use that to the internet and be fine, you're actually not. Because you can do many things. You can mess with Windows Defender. You can literally turn off the antivirus engine that runs Windows Defender, which is very interesting. You can do anti-forensics, so you can do like timestamp manipulation on metadata files. You can do so many other things. That's just off the top of my head. And you can also exfiltrate data across the network because you have kernel access. And how many big organizations use SMB, use printer shares, use network shares with very little authentication? Like, I can think of maybe 5 companies right now that actually have network monitoring in place in their internal environment. And it's not Apple. So it's one of those things where it's like, my best advice is prepare for it and expect it to come, because it will.
Yep.
If you pretend, we're not going to get affected, Murphy's Law is you're going to be affected.
Well, isn't that the age-old recommendation or advice in cybersecurity, which is it's not a matter of would you be hacked? It's a matter of when would I be hacked, and what can I do to limit the blast radius and the impact of that hack. And this obviously goes to show that no matter how hard you try, there is often going to be vulnerabilities that basically put you off your whims. I'm talking about vulnerabilities. We've got another one as well from Cisco. So that apparently there's a new 0-day vulnerability from Cisco, that's essentially making the news, and this one is really bad. So a critical Cisco warns of iOS, 0-day vulnerability exploited in the wild. Cisco has released security updates to address a high severity 0-day vulnerability in Cisco iOS and iOS XC softwares that are currently being exploited in the wild. The vulnerability itself, how it works, it's essentially a vulnerability that is targeting the SNMP, which is a simple network management protocol within network devices, which is often essentially used to send message traps to the network devices, essentially for cross network communication. And this vulnerability is tracked as CVE 2025 through 20352. And potentially, this is potentially a stack buffer overflow weakness found in this particular service. And as of today, Cisco has released a patch, but obviously, most network devices will probably have this enabled by default. There are two key main impacts. So one of the main impact is this vulnerability requires you to be authenticated. So it's an authenticated based vulnerability. So you do need to have some level of access. So if you have a low privilege user access on the system, it will allow you to essentially perform a denial of service type attack on the system. But if you do have something like a system or administrative level access to any Cisco iOS device or any device that is running Cisco iOS XE, that essentially allows you to be able to control the software or to control the system, and run any arbitrary code that you want to run as root. So this is essentially the highest level of permission that you can have in any system or that is Unix based. So the attacker could potentially exploit it by crafting a specially designed SNMP packet to an affected device over IPv4 or IPv6 network. Cisco said in the advisory. So basically, this one is quite huge. So for those of you who have a Cisco device or use Cisco within your environment, either the ASA or the ISAs, definitely go ahead and make sure you patch this. As an initial workaround, the advice is to obviously limit SNMP or disable it if you can. But again, the reality is there's probably no disabling SNMP in your environment because most network devices rely on it for cross talks. So it's probably will be hard to completely flat out disable it. But this one you definitely need to be aware of. For those who have obviously spent the last few nights trying to patch this vulnerability because it came out 2 days ago, actually about a day ago, to 26th, which was yesterday. I'm sure the vulnerability itself has probably been aware around a bit longer, from when it was initially reported to Cisco to when it was released, giving them time to actually put together a patch for it. So for those of you who actually manage Cisco devices, definitely go ahead and patch that immediately. Obviously, visit Cisco official website to receive information about the latest version that you need to upgrade to, or perhaps some workaround that they've recommended in there. So, guys, that's essentially one of the biggest vulnerabilities that are going around there. Another 0-day in Cisco devices. I give Cisco props here because their devices haven't been having a lot of critical vulnerabilities. Unlike a certain platform that I know, which is called Fortinet. The amount of critical vulnerabilities that come out of Fortinet devices every single year, I am yet to know why on earth that happens. But another interesting news that's actually taking place in the US is Amazon has actually been fined 2.5 billion dollars for doing some dodgy Ouija stuff by forcing people to sign up to Prime, and making it really hard to cancel the subscription as well. So some really good news, in the I guess in the threat landscape out there today. For those who are wondering, you can obviously read a little bit more about this. Huge shout out to Bleeding Computers. You can read more about this particular story on their platform by going to Bleeding Computers official website.com. But guys, do you have any comments to add to this one?
Don't look at me because all my networking equipment is Netgear, and I like my vulnerabilities backdoored to a Western country, so it's better than like Huawei or something like that.
Yep.
it's funny that you're picking on Cisco for having, no, you're picking on Fortinet for having, like loads and loads of
Yeah.
vulnerabilities. When I see like critical vulnerabilities come out for Cisco on a regular basis, and normally they're all related to hard-coded credentials.
Yeah.
Well, they're not necessarily out of the woods yet. I'm just saying that like you can't blame me every single time I have to deal with a vulnerability or incident. It's always funny, right? I can only say what I see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, perfect example, right? My university uses deep packet inspection, and when I'm doing the OSCP labs, it blocks the actual handshake authentication from OpenVPN. How did I get around it? I literally had to route all of my traffic through UDP packets and then encrypt that stream into like a Shadowsocks proxy that I run on my home lab. And then I then run that into a TCP stream. And it's like 50 million different steps just to get OpenVPN working. And it's Fortinet. So I looked on the CVE database and I'm like, there's 500 criticals just in this 1 month of reporting. Like, would it be bad if I just go into the network config and just unblock the OpenVPN block? Like, that's always an option, right?
I have a question for you, Sammy.
Yeah.
What do you think? Oh, sorry, mate. I
No.
thought you were finished. Go on. Keep going.
No, I was gonna say because I raised a ticket saying please unblock SANS because they put SANS as malware, and I'm like, why would you put SANS as malware? Like, please? And they're like, no, SANS is malware, and I'm like, how are you the head of networking and threat intelligence if you don't know who SANS is?
Oh, seriously.
It's like I'm losing brain cells here.
Yeah.
So now,
So someone has got a
yeah,
comment
go.
in the chat in the comment section. So I think this one is from Precursor. Curious how you could approach patching, the EDI vulnerability. Following the crash dump, I believe. Um, no internal stranger. We are officially not having any rap battles today. Have you not heard that my voice is gone? Huh? This is unfair.
Yo,
This is unfair.
I mean, I already got the freestyle lined up. If y'all want to hear it, like,
Yeah,
I
we,
mean,
we are gonna finish up with that freestyle, my friend.
okay.
Internal stranger. Obviously, yeah, you're right. I think I'm not actually sure who got the name iOS before before the other. I don't know if Cisco started calling the OS iOS or Apple started calling it iOS first. I have no idea who started calling it that. But depending on who you ask, if you ask someone who is in networking or network security, they probably know iOS before Apple started calling their iOS the software or in proprietary software iOS as well. Good one there. And then I believe, does anyone have any other question? I think no. That's it. Yeah, you go.
I have a question for you, Mr. Sammy.
Yes.
So back on the vulnerabilities. Who do you think is worse, Fortinet or WordPress?
WordPress, definitely. WordPress. I
Now,
literally don't get me started. Do not get me started. Literally every single day, there is a new plugin critical vulnerability that would allow you to dump a whole database, which include credentials in WordPress. Like, don't even get me started. And there's so many people who use WordPress every day. Like, it's gotten to the point where if I'm visiting a website and I see that they use WordPress, my trust level is literally begins to question that website immediately and the security of it. Now, but by the way,
what security?
I want to definitely come out there and put it out there that I have no issues against WordPress as an organization. I'm sure they're doing a great job. They're actually, from what I've heard, WordPress is pretty responsive when people pick up vulnerabilities, in their platform. But I just, for the life of me, having lived a life as a pen tester and done things with WordPress, there's this certain level of distrust that I have for WordPress. So yeah, then hopefully that answers your question. And now you've gotten me started.
Actually, don't think it's the organization. It's more so the plugins.
Oh, seriously, it's insane. Like, literally every single Joe writes a plugin, and then there you go, voila! Now we've got a new remote code execution, or XML template injection, or cross-site scripting attack. So Jack,
So,
there's a question here for
yeah.
you from Internal Stranger. Are
Okay.
you thinking of a specific role in cyber, or more to create your own? I guess like creating your own path, essentially becoming an entrepreneur. I think this is the question that you and I, Jack, this is the topic that you and I have discussed, extensively
Yeah.
as well. So people are wanting to
So
know, what role would you like to step into in cyber, or do you want to do your own thing, continuously doing your own research?
so realistically, it's actually both right now. So I'm doing honestly, it's very difficult at my level because I don't have the backing of a major company, but I have the drive and skill level of somebody, late 20s, early 30s who's an established security professional. And that's kind of an interesting duality to contend with.
Mm.
But I feel like the more people I meet, the more people who are like, wow, you're really passionate. You're doing a lot of great stuff. Like, perfect example. After the networking drinks, after my talk, there's this person who does iPhone repair boards for a shop in Melbourne. And he's like, hey, I saw your talk. I noticed you're a broke computer science student. I have dead boards. I can give them to you if you want. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, for free. Like, they're dead. And if you repair them, great. You can sell them. And I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And I feel like the traditional pathway for security is kind of a misleading one. I believe you should aspire to make your own niche and carve out what you're good at. And if you don't know what you're good at, the best way is to just pick something that sounds interesting and start emailing the best people in the world. Because how I got started was I literally just emailed everyone. If I didn't know it, I called their office. I'm like, if you can't help me, can you direct me to somebody who can, or can you direct me to resources? And after about 2,000 phone calls, I'm not even joking, I meet a FBI special agent out of the U.S. FBI Seattle field office, and he effectively said, "Hey, look at Mobile Hacking Lab, look at, all the other resources, Corellium, and these companies will teach you for free mobile security." And one thing led to another, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. But apart from the mobile security side, I do work on a couple other startups. So one of them is application security for a open source smart glasses project called Mentra. I do their application security stuff. And software development for a couple other things that I don't really want to get into now because I have an NDA and I don't know what am or not allowed to say against that. But we're building a protopian societal structure. So we're trying to increase the collective good in the world by aligning human goals with machine goals. Is the most simplest way
Interesting.
I can explain that.
I feel like you need to come back next time once you've sorted out your NDA, and let's talk about
Mm.
that specific
Yeah.
Point.
100%.
Look, obviously, you know that the team here at CyLynk and Hack for Good, we obviously always have a room, to accommodate you. I know we're a startup, but eventually we are going to make that billions. Nathan, what do you reckon? Billions, right? For the greater good.
We'll make 20 billion, and our kids will make 20 trillion.
20 billion. Wow.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want I want this startup to be on the moon.
yes,
Like,
we are going to be
I
doing we
mean,
are doing some incredible fun things. It's all
yeah.
about solving real problems, and helping put people on the right track, and helping provide job ready training to those
Well, I
who are there.
think the most important thing beyond the physical aspect of yes helping people, it's legacy. And I
Mm,
think legacy is such an important thing that so many people don't think about until it's too late. They don't think about until after they've burnt out, until after they've messed up a pivotal choice. Do I go to college? Do I not? Do I get in debt? Do I not? Do I
mm,
do I go halfway around the world to start a new job? Or do I not? And those are decisions that ultimately impact the legacy. And that's kind of
mm.
what drives me is there's an awesome two poems that I love in my life. And one of them is The Man in the Arena by Theodore Roosevelt. And effectively it says, if you're in the arena, the onlookers have no right to judge you, for they are not in the arena. And basically, you do you. And apart from that, the other one is If by Kipling. And I believe that's truly what it means to be a good person in today's world.
Well, Jack, I think that's a pretty good place for us to begin to wrap it up today. I
Yep.
want to make sure that we don't go over an hour and a half. I
Mm.
think it is time. I'm not sure. Do you want to try playing that beat on your phone? Let's see if it actually if we're gonna get the sound come through. Let's test it out.
Uh,
Let's see if we're ready.
yeah, I mean, we definitely should.
Yeah, whilst you're trying to sort out the sound on your end. Internal stranger, yes. This was my second B-side Canberra. I believe Nathan, this was your first B-side Canberra. First time being in Canberra yourself. You know, and yes. To your second question, you cannot compare both of them. They're different. B-side Canberra is literally the best, hacking conference in the whole of Australia that is
Yeah.
technical. Essentially something closer to what we're doing with Hack for Good, where it's hands-on, it's workshop focused. Why CyberCon is probably more focused on corporate, GRC type stuff. So they're completely different. I would go to B-side every single time, but
I
CyberCon
will
probably not for me that much,
I will
other
also
than marketing.
slightly
Yeah, go.
interject here. The other great thing about B-Sides is the community. It's very family oriented, and it's very, we got each other's back. Because the amount of job opportunities, networking between students, and just helping people is exactly what
That's right.
B-Sides is founded on its fundamental principles back in Las Vegas.
That's
Whereas
right.
a lot of the other corporate events, AWS, Cisco Live, whatever, it's very, look at me, if you have money, if you're a startup, whatever, then buy me. And it's not very much catered to the student or young professional as much.
Yeah, that's right. Look, my bed in this hotel room has been so bad. My neck is very very much crooked.
Mm.
Of after sleeping on it for 2 nights. But look, thanks so much, Jack, for that. Are you ready to go, mate? Is your sound working? So you can drop
Can you
that.
hear it?
Yeah. Oh, wait, I think I could hear it
Okay.
then.
Oh yeah, we're
All
gonna have
right.
a rapping battle.
Okay.
Melbourne
Wait. I'm
X.
gonna bring you in.
Yup. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this rap session by all the almighty, one and only Jack
Hi
Sessions.
guys.
The iOS hacker, the meme lord, the rap reaper himself.
Alright, cool.
Jack, drop your beat, man.
Let's go. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Yo. Name is Jack Sessions. Don't forget it. Why? Because I'm unbreaking the iPhone. I'm breaking through the zone. Logs in the kernel. But I do it on my own. I got night vision on, so the system can't hide. Yo. Mm. Besides in the house, take it for a hacker ride. Why? Because I'm looking so fly. Why? I am the best with mobile exploitation flows. Don't you even know? Some people call me the SEP Whisperer, the Sandbox Breaker, because I'm digging through the logs like a Colonel Undertaker. I got no jailbreak needed because I'm still catching that vibe. I'm on fire. I'm about to fly. Another cool thing about me is, man, I play on a hard mode. iOS defenses aren't even gonna get the best of me, but I'm still staying alive because I got that fundamental drive to inspire to change the game. But subliminally, it is a very interesting thought to me that we need to fundamentally create an uprising to inspire the best of the best to the new hackers, the generation, the people to bring the fire, the drive, and the ones who really love and passion. And most importantly, it's on legacy. So, okay, let's hit it from the second verse. Oh, third. Okay. Okay. Yo, shout out to the hackers who live in the code, reverse and engineer on the path that I rode. I know it's hard, I know it ain't easy, but remember, what ain't free always will never come easy. Yo, I'm freestyling with NVGs. I make memes in the light. If you love open systems, make some noise tonight.
Woo!
Okay.
Now that was so cool. That was good. That was good.
Yeah.
Well, guys. You know that my rapping level is nowhere close to that. But we're always dropping the bars high here. Shout out to to the team. Obviously who are back in our home in Melbourne, who are helping do all of the hard work. Shout out to Michael, to Vaughn, to Tara, to Lauren, to Bray. Shout out to everyone who's working hard behind the scene. To Dami, Lagos, Nigeria. Look, guys, this has been absolutely awesome. For those who are wondering what it is we do here at CyLynk, we are a cybersecurity training platform, and you could literally start learning with us today. If you're thinking of ways to learn, we actually have job-ready tracks that are job guaranteed, money back guaranteed. It comes with one-on-one coaching with one of our expert coaches who have more than 5 years experience in cybersecurity. They would literally work with you, and keep you accountable so that you can achieve your goals in cybersecurity. And then we also have our courses as well, which is how you gain practical job-ready skills through, through project portfolios, P Labs, and then we obviously have our certifications. We have partners, guys. We've partnered with SBT Security Blue Team. We are able to sell you the Security Blue Team's level 1, Security Blue Team level 1, level 2. We can also sell you the certified junior, threat detection engineer that's just been released recently last week. So you can buy all of that through us. We also are partnered with CompTIA as well. So definitely come hang out with us, hang out with the crew. I reckon we need some song to sort of exit this from. Obviously, you guys won't be able to hear it. So let me quickly find a good song, Nathan, from one of the ones that you shared with me. So where is it?
It's in the chat.
All right. Okay, let's go. So thanks so much, everyone, for playing along. This has been absolutely incredibly awesome. I really, really appreciate it. Jack, look, special thank you to you, my friend. It's been absolutely incredible getting to hear your story, getting to be part of this incredible show live at BSides Canberra, people. Woohoo! It's been an incredible 4 days. 8. It's been cool. So, Jack, what would be the final last few words that you would say to everyone who is currently grinding, trying to get into cybersecurity, learning, in underserved communities and in untapped regions, those who don't have a lot of money to pay for science certifications and all of that, who are essentially waiting on CyLynk to release all of the good training? What would you say to those who are still in the trenches, grinding and trying to get ahead, to do some cool things, and to essentially be able to pay the bills? Mate, what would you say?
I'd say 3 major things. 1, to any other haters, just say, watch me, because you will win.
Woo!
Trust me, if I can win, you can. I truly believe that. And if you can't, email me. Sammy and Nathan will drop my YouTube and my inspirational stuff. Later, I'm dropping a bunch of freestyle raps at the end of the week.
Yep.
as
Awesome.
Motivational to the people who are grinding and are in that difficult spot. Secondly, join the community.
Yeah.
Collaborate, make memes, email, do crazy stuff, because crazy stuff gets remembered.
That's awesome.
And-
That's so good.
Lastly, most important thing of all time, don't be afraid to take risks, because you will almost never forget the risks you don't take. You'll almost never regret that. In terms of you doing a risk and you're like, I shouldn't have done that. Cool, well now you have experience and you can do it better and better and better, because you'll only be as bad as the risk you take today. Like my rap, I stumbled 12 times at BSides Canberra. Nobody cared. Everyone was like, wow, dude, he rapped, that was crazy. Nobody was counting the stumbles.
Yeah.
They were counting the energy you bring. And
That's it.
Energy attracts.
That's it.
Remember that.
That's it. I totally agree with that, mate. Like, seriously, I couldn't have said it better. In my world, you always try. Don't be afraid to start and get better every single time you get the opportunity to do it again. So, Nathan, mate, what would you say to the community that we're building? Guys, thank you so much for always tuning in every single week. I know we are getting better. I know we are figuring out a way to make this better, to bring in some great, awesome guests. So, Nathan, what would you say to our community, to those boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, grandmas and grandpas, aunties and uncles who are watching us from Italy, from, I think we had someone who was watching us from Uruguay the last time. We had someone from, from Turkey the last time as well. So what would you say to those people who are consistently coming in to learn, to stay plugged in, to keep learning, to keep growing, and then looking for that breakthrough in cybersecurity?
The exact same thing that Jack said, and I wanted to say to Jack, thank you, Mr. Jack Sessions, for coming and joining the greatest session, Nerd Night.
Woo!
100%.
Guys, you can
you so
find
much.
Jack on LinkedIn at Jack Sessions. Look him up, follow him, and join the fun. And make sure that you are actually reaching out. And like Jack said, we have our Hack for Good meetup. Finally, we have officially changed the name of BlueCon to Hack for Good meetup. So go ahead and check that up. Look us up. Follow us on social media, on Meetup. And yeah, guys, we look forward to seeing you guys on November the 13th to 14th for the Hack for Good meetup and con. And then the 15th for the workshop and training. So guys, we are about to release the early bird tickets, which will be $100, for the first 50 tickets. And then it'll be $150. We might have some African food as well. So thanks so much, everyone. It's been an incredible journey. It's been an incredible session. I loved it. Jack, mate, once again, thank you for giving your time. I really appreciate it. To all of you out there, do not stop breaking code. Just like Jack said, do not stop grinding. Do not stop doing cool stuff, because that's the only way people remember you. With that, peace.